Okay, we are here in Tenerife in a very impressive landscape because we have a very big valley. Notice that the walls of the valley are mostly rectilinear, and it took a very long time to accept that the process that took all this was not erosion. It was a giant landslide that took several cubic kilometers of the island down to the ocean. Actually, the people that discovered these big processes were the Hawaiian people, and it took them years to be able to publish and find it because it was too large to be understood. And finally, when they published, they called prodigious landslides because it involved thousands of cubic kilometers.
So these giant landslides, I mean, they are very common now in our understanding in the evolution of the Canary Islands.
Absolutely. Most of the erosion of the island is not just pure weathering, it's mass landslide that take an enormous amount of the volume of the island. Here in Oceanic Island in general, this is a very common process. And here in Tenerife, we have documented at least 6 of these big landslides, but also in El Hierro, but also in La Palma. So they are very common, and they make the very important landscape features.
And this particular one, the Orotava Valley, when did that occur?
That occurred, we have constrained at about 500,000 years, a little more than 500,000 years.
Right, and how frequent are they? Are we at risk of experiencing another one very soon?
No, this is in human time. This is absolutely very infrequent. They take hundreds of thousands of years to develop. So it's a risk, but for human perspective, it's not a thing that will happen in the future in thousands of years, so it's not a problem.
And when did the last landslide occur on Tenerife?
Oh, in Tenerife, the last one was probably this one. Probably the Orotava.
Okay, and
in the Canary Islands, the last one was in El Hierro, and that was about 150,000 years. So that's very modern in geological time.
And the Teide volcano, it towers over us. I'm just seeing it here to your right in the image. This is grown inside a landslide,
Exactly.
Isn't it?
A common thing is that after a big landslide, in some way, volcanism start nested inside the cauldron that is produced by the landslide, and start with a very dense material, and it's differentiated with time, and finally they grow this enormous stratovolcano, the Teide, that actually is the third highest altitude on Earth, after the two in the Hawaiian Islands, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. The third one is Teide.
Wow.
Because you must consider that Teide doesn't finish at the coast. It takes another 4 kilometers down until resting on the ocean.
On the ocean floor.
So in total is almost 8,000.
Almost 8,000 meters from the base level, where the island starts, indeed. Yes, I remember the paper that you led at the time. You were the leader, and I was just a young researcher at the time. Caracero et al. 2011, I think, in GSA Bulletin, JOLSOC America Bulletin. I can put the link in the description box underneath if you are interested. That's for our viewers. But there we compare these different landslides and the post-landslide volcanism, which also seems to be like on La Palma with the Volcano volcano.
Absolutely.
New volcano growing inside the landslide scar and becoming more and more differentiated, meaning the products become more silica rich, starting with mafic lavas, getting more silica rich. And yeah, Teide itself is now phonolithic. The eruption from the peak is highly silica rich but it's of course alkaline, but comparatively speaking is very silica rich.
We can speculate that probably the Teide is not going to be a problem in the future, because there is a filter of density. The higher the volcano grows, the more difficult for the magma is to get into the crater. So actually the last eruption of Teide, that was in the medieval, in around the 8th century, was feasible because the volcano produced lavas that were very light, obsidianic phonolites. But after that grew almost 200 meters higher. So the possibility of the Teide to have an erosion, for a summit erosion, is very little now. So what happens is that the vents, the new volcanoes, get around the base of the volcano.
Yes, and I was just zooming into Montaña Blanca, the little white area at the base, and this is actually a peripheral vent.
Peripheral vents around.
I'll show it once more. It's actually at the base of the volcano, and this was the last explosive eruption of Teide about 2,000 years ago.
Exactly.
And here it is, this knob at the base, the white kind of material. This is Montaña Blanca, and this is actually one of the peripheral vents. And there's a whole cluster of them around the volcano,
there are
right?
About 8 different ones around. Abejeras, Risco Blanco, etc. So they are all phonolitics. And not only they put, how you say, they erupt pumice, but also very thick lava flows that go all the way down to the sea, to the coast.
Wonderful. So, and just to the left here, there we have the astronomical station and the rift zone. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So this is the actual northeast rift zone that extends from Teide volcano all the way out to Anaga, to the old shield. And there the astronomical station is up there on the hillside. And this is also something that Juan Carlos, and I guess myself a little as well in support, have worked on for many years. And again, I'm happy to put a few of these papers in the textbooks underneath. So thank you, Juan Carlos. And I think it's now time that we move to the cable cars, because we have a golden ticket today, right?
Yes, and a good breakfast.
And a breakfast. It comes with breakfast and free ride up the cable car, because we have been commissioned to write something for the cable car company. And so we get special treatment today. But I close with a last look. Thank you very much, Juan Carlos.
Okay.
So, and I close with a last look down the Orotava Valley, one of the giant landslides here on Tenerife. And the forested area here is refill or infill lavas. But down at the base, it's the landslide being very visible, the walls at the side being very strong. And this is a gorgeous kind of scenario. Beautiful valley, very fertile. And I close here with saying thank you, particularly to Juan Carlos, for the explanations. And we'll talk a little bit more later. All the best. Bye-bye.